What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the very first YouTube video on the Mediocre Movie Reviews channel. My name is Jake. I am the host of this channel. I have been on Twitter and Letterboxd for a long time, but I figured I would start making a little bit longer form of content because I've been making TikTok content for a while as well, and so I thought that I would jump on YouTube and talk about some more movies in depth and talk about specific lists that I've made. And so today we're actually starting out with my top 10 movies so far of 2026. I have seen, I believe, 47 new releases in theaters this year, and so these are my top 10. There will be a bottom 10 video coming out as well on this channel very soon. We're starting out with my top 10 on a positive note for this channel. Number 10 is Primate. Now, you're going to see a lot of horror on this list. I think there's 3 on this list. There are 3 horror movies on this list. Might even be more. I have to look at it again. But number 10 is Primate, the horror movie that came out in January of this year about a family pet chimpanzee who gets rabies and goes nuts. Now, I got this movie at a 4 on Letterboxd. It actually, for a while, was my top-rated film of the year. That was short-lived, but it also was, for a very long time, actually, my top-rated horror film of the year until I saw Faces of Death, which we will talk about later in this video. But Primate, I think, is actually pretty solid. There's some goofy acting, there is some goofy camera work, the dialogue is not great, all things that kind of tend to bring horror movies down. Like, for example, this is not on this list today, obviously, because it's not good, but I just saw Passenger earlier today, and that's a movie where the dialogue is bad, and the acting is bad, and it just takes you out of the horror film. So there was some goofy acting, some goofy camera work, but there is some really solid action. The tension is great. It does a really good job of using lighting and making it really hard to tell where Ben, the chimpanzee, is at times. I think it's a great... thing's very unique, this is a very unique concept. Obviously, movies have shown chimpanzees going crazy and going on little sprees before, but this is a fully fledged feature film about just that, right? And it's very unique, and I love that about it. I just love the action. I think some of the kills are awesome. I'm a sucker for a good kill. That's why I love the Terrifier movies. So when you got good kill scenes, that you're really speaking my language in a horror movie. I'm a big horror fan and a big, just crazy kill scene fan, and there are tons of those in this movie. So that is number 10, and it only gets better from here. But Primate is a very good movie, so if you have not checked it out and you're a horror fan, I think Primate is a must-watch from the 2026 selection so far. Number 9 is one that probably a lot of people didn't even see and therefore won't have on their lists for this year so far. They probably will eventually when it come out in theaters, but it's Normal, starring Bob Odenkirk, about a retired police officer, or kind of an older police officer who takes a job as what he thinks will be a pretty easy, laid-back job as the sheriff of a town in Minnesota. It turns out there's some stuff going on behind the scenes that is a lot more sinister. This is a good movie. This is the kind of way that I describe it as it's very much like Nobody and Nobody 2, the 2 action films that Bob Odenkirk started in these past few years, but I think they're a lot better. The dialogue is sharper, the action is better. This movie's funny, it has great action, Bob Odenkirk is great in it, so overall, really solid movie. I like the tone of the movie, I like the setting with the cold winter action scenes, and genuinely the twist does kind of get you a little bit. You're not really sure what's going on at first, and then you realize that a lot more is going on than you can first see in the film, and so that's awesome. I also really thought that some of the kills were kind of goofy, but there were some really unique, out of the box, you have to suspend your disbelief kill scenes. That actually works for me. A lot of people would view that as a negative. That actually works for me. So number 9 is Normal. Number 8 is the drama starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson about a couple on the verge of getting married until Zendaya's character reveals a secret about herself that really does not take well with the people around her, especially Robert Pattinson's character, and so things are kind of thrown a wrench in. A little bit, but this is a very solid film. There's a lot to like about it. It does a really good job of building tension. There's a lot of tension between the 2 characters. I think the lead performances from Robert Pattinson and Zendaya are absolutely fantastic, so that's a plus. I think the script is really good. It's funny at times, but it's really messed up at times. I think the supporting cast is really good across the board for this movie. And again, it really just makes you feel for the people involved, because he wants to love her so bad, but and people want him to not because of what she did. But there's all this history between them, and he really does love her, and everything. And it begins to, you can see it in him. He begins to not trust stuff about her because he doesn't know for sure if she's always telling the truth. And so this is a really, really good film. It is acted wonderfully by Robert Pattinson and Zendaya. Great performances, some of the better performances from a lead duo this year. So overall, really, really solid film. Number 7 is Crime 101, starring Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan. List goes on. Great cast in this movie. I think Chris Hemsworth is actually pretty solid. The American accent was wonky at times, but this is probably the best Chris Hemsworth performance I have seen in any movie he's been in. I have not seen all of his movies, but as far as the movies I have actually seen Chris Hemsworth in, I think this is by far his best performance. Supporting cast is great. I love the concept. It is a 2-hour plus movie that feels very, very quick, well paced. Script is a little wonky, but overall, Crime 101, it's a great movie. The action is cool, the storyline is cool, and the way that all of the people's... I'm a sucker for, like, multiple point of view movies, like Weapons, for example, one of my favorite movies of last year, multiple point of views at some point in the movie, and so when you have a movie like this that, you know, ties perfectly, because this movie perfectly ties in all the different experiences of the same situation. When you have a movie like that, I'm a sucker for it. And this movie ties everything in perfectly. It all comes together cohesively. You don't sit there questioning whether or not it actually could have been the way it is in one perspective and the way it is in another perspective. It's very good at making sure that it's all cohesive. So that's number 6. I meant to say 7. Number 6 is actually Send Help, directed by Sam Raimi. He's returned to the big screen, starring Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien as co-workers who are forced to survive on a deserted island, with a lot of twists and turns that I will not give away because it has been out since January, but I would recommend literally anybody who likes movies to watch this, because Sam Raimi is a genius. The acting from Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien is just fantastic, as they spend 90% or even more of the movie as the only two people on screen. Like, if you, like, 99% of the shots have at least one of them in it, 90% of it is just those two, right? And the way that the twists happen, you never see what's coming next. You don't see the ending coming. The action is really cool. The cinematography is cool. The shots are cool. There really is just so much about this movie that you can just love, from the visuals to the acting to the editing is really good. Sam Raimi, I just love seeing him back on the big screen. I think Dylan O'Brien has an Oscar in his future. I think he was awesome in this movie. Rachel McAdams, we all know what she is. She's a known entity, and we all know what she's capable of. And so, overall, I have very few notes about Send Help. It was my favorite movie from this year for a long time for a reason. Number 5 is one of 3 horror films in the top 5. It has been a absolutely banger year for horror, and this is part of it. Hokum, starring Adam Scott as a senile, very, maybe cynical, I'll say, very angry writer who comes to a Irish hotel that his parents honeymooned at before they died, to try and finish his book. Things go crazy. It's supposedly haunted by a witch. The movie is awesome. Adam Scott absolutely brings his A game in a horror film, which I never, ever, ever thought I would say those words, but he absolutely brings his A game in a horror film. He is awesome in this movie. His performance is just incredible, and I would never have expected a performance like that from him in a horror movie. Scares are good. The tension is crazy. It's filmed, a lot of it is filmed in the dark, and they use the lighting so well. And again, Adam Scott is fantastic. The scares are good. There's not a lot of jump scares, but you're on the edge of your seat the entire time, and that's what a horror film should be. I love movies like that. It's so tense. The acting is so good. I think the storyline is really good. So, yeah, Hokum is fantastic. Number 4 is Faces of Death. This will be the one on my top 10 that absolutely nobody will share my opinion of. I just love this movie so much. Dacre Montgomery. I would give him an Oscar nom for this. I genuinely would. I am not afraid to say that. If I had a ballot right now for Best Leading Actor, or even Best Supporting Actor, whatever you want to put him in, give it to him. I genuinely would have him on my ballot. He was so good as Arthur in this movie. I forget her last name, but Barbie is so good in this movie as well as like the final girl. The kills in this movie are so creative and so unique. The tension is so good. The acting is so good. And again, I can't get over how good the kills are. I can't get over the way that Dacre Montgomery flips a switch to talk to people in one setting and flips a switch to talk to people in the other. I think the creativity of the sets and the way that the kills are set up is so unique. It's so unique the way that the kills are done in this movie. I just think it's awesome, and I would see it 1,000 times. I think it's one of my favorite horror movies ever. And so is number 3 on this list. Because just ahead of Faces of Death at number 4, at number 3 is Obsession. Just came out, directed by Curry Barker, 26 years old, YouTube skit guy, absolutely phenomenal. I could do an entire video on Obsession. I probably will do an entire video on Obsession, but it is just a great movie. Indy Navarrete, you would have it. My Oscar nomination, my vote, you would have it for sure. There'd be 2 horror performances in the 2 leading categories if I had to pick right now. She is so good in this movie. She makes about 1,000 different facial expressions. She flips the switch between Wish Nikki and Real Nikki in an instant. Michael Johnson is also really good as Bear in this. The acting is fantastic. Curry Barker uses lighting in some of the best ways I have ever seen in a horror film, maybe in a film in general. The lighting, the way that they light Nikki's face in a lot of the scenes, and light Nikki in general, especially one of the very first scenes after he's made the wish and she has kind of flipped the switch into who she's going to be with Wish, Nikki. The way that she's lit and you can only see her silhouette is so creepy and so good. The lighting is fantastic. The way that Nikki moves, that's all Indy Navarrete. Like, it is just... I could go on and on about this film. I probably will for its own video, but I'm going to keep this short for the sake of time. Give it a 5 stars on Letterboxd because, sorry, 4.5, but basically 5. It's just phenomenal. Curry Barker, his first ever feature film, completely smashed it out of the park. No notes. Loved every second of it. Saw it twice already. It's only been out 2 weeks, so that should tell you. Number 2 is 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I'm going to keep it real simple with this one. Jack O'Connell and Ralph Fiennes absolutely carry this movie to an absolute banger. Soundtrack is fantastic. I think the visuals of this movie are fantastic, but the acting is really what sells it. Between Ralph Fiennes and Jack O'Connell. But really, everybody. Alfie Williams is really good in this movie. Like... It's long, and you might think, oh, that means it's boring, but it really just keeps you hooked the entire time. I think the action is great. I think the tension is great, and the ending, obviously, bringing back Cillian Murphy's character, good decision, and it really sets up the next one well. I just love the 28 Years Later installments we've had these past couple years. Missed Aaron Taylor Johnson in this movie for sure, but Ralph Fiennes and Jack O'Connell, and that ending scene... The last 30 minutes of this movie are just something special. So, deservedly number 2. I don't think it's going anywhere this year. And my number 1 movie this year is Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling as basically a school teacher who gets chosen to head up a mission to try and save Earth. And he meets Rocky along the way, who's also trying to save his planet from basically the same thing, that the sun is dying. This movie is just awesome. Ryan Gosling, I do take back my Dacre Montgomery take because I do think Ryan Gosling would certainly be my vote on my Oscar ballot currently for Best Leading Actor. He's awesome. Rocky is such a fun character to be with. This movie is emotional. There were, the only critique I have is I felt like it was going to end 6 times, and it never did until the very end. But it's funny, and it's heartwarming, and it's emotional, and the visuals are absolutely insane. There was no CGI used, but the visuals are just some of the best you will ever see in a film. Some of the shots I was genuinely just in awe of, and I was in awe of Ryan Gosling, too. This is, I think, his best performance in a movie to date. I haven't seen a ton of his work. Especially older stuff, like The Notebook, Maze Runner, stuff like that. Sorry, Blade Runner, is it? Whichever one he's in. I think it's Blade Runner. I haven't seen those movies, but I think this is by far the best I've seen Ryan Gosling. This is the peak of his powers. This movie is deservedly number 1. The visuals are the best of any movie this year. I think this is the one that got me in the heartstrings the most this year. Maybe Sheep Detectives, too. Great movie. Not my top 10. I will talk about that one in the video, too. A lot of potential for videos on this channel, for sure. But that is my top 10 movies so far of 2026 after watching 46 movies, new releases in theaters. I will do my bottom 10 later on, but this was a super fun video to make. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you guys next time.